Joining me today in the flip side of crypto is the CEO of CoinGate, Dmitry Borisenko. So why should you care about our guest? Basically, 4 things are for certain in life. Life, death, taxes, and crypto is here to stay. And if you're a small business owner, you're thinking of opening your damn good e-shop, you might want to hear what a CEO might tell you. Dmitry, welcome.
Hello guys, pleasure to be here.
Dmitry is the CEO of CoinGate, and could you just tell our audience back at home, what is CoinGate?
So, in order to say what is CoinGate, I need to go back in early 2013. And back in the day, we started to attend conferences about cryptocurrency. Most of those conferences were covered with people with libertarian points of view, also mathematicians and, let's say, political liberals. So in that year, we noticed that there is a big technology that people are interested in, and it might disrupt the whole economy. And our point of view was that, you know, money was basically the last thing that internet didn't touch properly. And we thought that, hey, this blockchain and Bitcoin thing is very interesting for us. And most of the people were speaking about the future. And when it comes to the future, you know, you have a chicken egg problem. Like you need to solve the adoption thing in order to people to start using the Bitcoin. So for us, we thought that, hey, this is an interesting opportunity. And we thought that we need to integrate somehow the blockchain payments into the ecosystem, into the e-commerce, and we started by processing payments for cryptocurrencies for various businesses. Mostly we focus on small and medium enterprises, although we have, you know, different great solutions, enterprise solutions as well. And for us, it's been 7 years of pleasure as well as a roller coaster in terms of price, in terms of, you know, various risks related to cryptocurrencies and its growth and its success. But at the end of the day, I'm happy where where I feel alive, and I'm also happy where I see my project right now. So mostly we do cryptocurrency payment processing, B2B in B2B segment, but we also have some tools for customers of ours, which is B2C segment.
Yeah, so you saw a niche in the market that essentially crypto payments were not good enough. You needed to intervene. So why did you decide on the small and medium business segment? Why was that your niche? Why not enterprise? Why is CoinGate so focused on the small business owner?
Back in the day, no one knew how the technology will develop and you know, what are the potential risks. And you know, fast forward, we noticed that there are certain scalability issues, let's say, with Bitcoin and Ethereum. Just recently, you know, Ethereum passed the London protocol, so hopefully that will solve a bit. And also for, you know, Bitcoin, the capacity was 300,000 transactions, more or less. Now, you know, with a Lightning Network and with the growing payments in Lightning Network, which we face every day and every month we see the growth, we see that even this technology can be scaled. But, you know, back in 2013, it was still a very blurred vision of where we can, you know, integrate our solution. And obviously, you know, we wanted to start with small and medium enterprises because it's much easier to find common ground with them. But today we still focus on SMEs, but still, you know, even though we focus on SMEs, we have all the tools necessary to go enterprise. So for us, it was just a matter of communication. We wanted to build something and we wanted to get a feedback, and obviously the customers whom we can have a conversation, have a quick dinner in London or in Paris or even in our office in Vilnius. It was a benefit that we wanted to take.
Yeah, and essentially what you guys are doing is, let's just say, you're not the only gateway providers in the world. How can people differentiate you from all the rest?
So the technology behind blockchain, if you get into the details, is pretty much complex. And if you go even beyond that, Lightning Network, you take let's say, another layers of security like segregated witness or replaced by fee, which is an RBF protocol. If you take the technology itself, it's a little bit too difficult to understand and to operate on your own. So we thought that, hey, if we want to make this adoption thing to happen, we need to start to have a full-fledged solution where we would be able to think of the potential problems that might arise and build a solution in that fashion that we could already solve them. So we are a very customer, actually even shopper-centric. We have a very shopper-centric approach, which means that we have merchants, we have businesses with whom are integrated with CoinGate, even though we interact with shoppers and we manage all the questions that might arise for them. If they overpay, if they make a down payment, if the payment goes an expired one, we manage all the refunds, let's say. And in the essence, we want to have for the merchant as least as possible of potential friction and problems, which means that they don't need to care about technology behind. They just need to collect payments, which is basically their business and their bread. So I think we're the only market player that goes so deep in solving such problems. And of course, today we have 11,000 different cryptocurrencies if you go to various websites, right, to check the prices and the indexes and everything. So every year you have an exponential growth even to this day. You have Bitcoin, which is a beast on its own, you have Ethereum, you have Zcash, you have Monero, you name it. There are lots of them, right? So our direction is to integrate the most prominent ones. And by integration, I also mean that we need to take one step further and think of potential problems that might shopper face. And in that sense, we make as less friction as possible for our merchants, for our businesses.
Yeah. For our OG fans out there, essentially, you remember the Finoro interview, right? We talked with a Berlin-based fintech. Essentially, they're offering to be a very similar payment gateway provider. And they talked about gigantic pain in the you-know-where when the sun don't shine. Everything is so custom. There's no standard. Every single day you have to innovate. Is it the same case for CoinGate right now?
That's a very good question. When it comes to payments, there are certain rails that are already built. You need to rely on e-commerce platforms, and therefore we kind of have solutions that are basically
essentially.
Like a plugin, so where you can just with a click of a button integrate our payment solution. But of course, you always have certain custom proposals and interesting business cases where you want to be, where you want to integrate your API solution. So we have, in that sense, also, we take the business case and we try to think how our payment infrastructure can be implemented. But when it comes to managing cryptocurrencies, this is what we do. We want to have a unified way of just, a callbacks thing. You want to deduct a payment from your shopper. He wants to buy whatever, a new phone, and he forwards the shopper to us. We allow the customer to select what is the cryptocurrency that he is willing to pay for. And at the end of the day, he just needs to send the payment, and it needs to be, we kind of provide all the details that we need from him. So in that sense, we try to build it ourselves. And of course, there are market leaders and our competitors, or I would even say partners, that, this adoption thing is a play for everyone. We need to be, we need to not to screw the whole industry behind. We need to be compliant with regulations and with standards, and we need to be at the end of the day, we need to safeguard the funds of our customers. So we follow the rules of e-commerce, and we try to build some additional layers on top on how to do things not only securely but also in a convenient fashion.
Yeah, and that's a great mission to have. But essentially, you started from Lithuania. So out of all places, all over Europe, why this little green plot of land? Why here?
Yeah, the quick question is, the quick answer is basically because we are most of the founders and most of the team, the core team, started in Lithuania. Today we have different nationalities, and we don't limit ourselves geographically to this location, especially right now when it's becoming very difficult to attract talent and to maintain it. Lithuania is becoming a very expensive place to be. Yeah. But this is a bootstrapped company, which means that together with my partners, we just sat down and thought that we are interested in this and we want to build it, and let's try to achieve something greater and something interesting. And this was just a historical step, but also, this is again the question why Lithuania is becoming expensive, because we have very good people and very good specialists, and people are demanding a lot from themselves. So I really can relate to that, and to this day, if I am able to maintain most of my operations in Lithuania, I'd be really happy to do that.
Yeah, I'm quite happy with how crypto kind of liberalized the whole world essentially. It used to be, it's Berlin, it's London, it's, New York. Now it seems that all of these different little countries, Malta, Switzerland, etc., they're the new Silicon Valleys. Maybe Lithuania can be one of them. Do you think we could have that future, or is it a far-fetched one, even in crypto times?
I think this is the beauty of having a small country, because you are compact and you are able to make fast decisions. You are able to connect with people, the ones that are interested in the question that you have in your agenda. So we have a very good example with Estonia. I'm really fond of these guys. The founders that sold Skype started to invest in other companies, and culturally build the whole success stories for other people, and people have role models where they can relate to. So I think similar things are happening right now in Lithuania, where we have 120, 130 different EMIs, which is electronic money institution, right? Yeah. And it started basically 10 years ago when Western Union came to Lithuania to build their operations and to build their compliance office, let's say. And with that, one thing is that people started to work with standards and lifted their competence. But at the same time, they started to, leave the company, leave the Western Union, and get in these electronic money institutions. So for us, we're not just a cryptocurrency company; we're a fintech at the end of the day. So for us, this is very relevant. If you have an experience, if you have, if you have some understanding about not only technology, but also how regulation works, how compliance works, how different process management works. This is really appealing to us when it comes to talent pool. So I think that being a small country is a strength, usually.
Yeah. So I'm just glad that you guys are so forward-thinking, that actually small countries have a chance, a fighting chance now, especially in crypto, where it seems like a Wild West, especially regulation-wise. You guys have to kind of think 5 steps ahead on what's going to happen regulation-wise. Even today, we just are breaking news constantly on the US Congress, trying to change bills, basically it's like quicksand. Some countries are for crypto, some countries are against. How do you, with your legal team, how do you kind of track the situation, and how do you view the future? Will it be more stable? Are you waiting for more regulation? Or are you kind of, every single time a new Forbes article comes out, you go, oy, 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 what's going to happen now?
It used to be a problem back in the day, especially in 2013, 14. The whole cryptocurrency was a huge, very stigmatized. It was, stigmatized with terrorism, with, legal activity, criminals, and etc. And I think that basically 2020 showed absolutely new quality people pouring into cryptocurrency and the whole industry. We have PayPal, we have Massachusetts insurance funds, we have, MicroStrategy investing in cryptocurrencies, in Bitcoin, Ethereum. It's becoming an opportunity to diversify your portfolio, right? So I think that stigma had changed. Finally, we don't have any stereotypes, and actually it's the opposite right now. People are relating cryptocurrency to as an investment, as a risky one, but as an investment. So I think that train already left where, European Union would see cryptocurrency as a big threat. Although we are a part of several working groups where we have conversations with European Union and with the Parliament and all the potential organizations that are having something in common with basically regulating cryptocurrency, and we need from time to time to educate about how the technology works and what are the potential risks and problems. And we are already regulated. Even before we got regulated, we already started to implement basic, not even basic, but a sufficient amount of anti-money laundering and terrorism financing prevention. So for us, regulation is not new, and we are for it. But the problem and the flip side of it is that if you over-regulate the industry, all the consumers will go into something which is decentralized totally, right? We have decentralized exchanges. To this day, we have dark websites where people operate with gray business, with white business, and with the total black business. So, in my point of view, there are certain proposals right now that would make our business impossible to do.
Impossible?
Yeah, I mean, it means that there are certain proposals right now where electronic cryptocurrency companies, they are called VASPs, virtual asset service providers, would basically be equal to electronic money institution. So instead of only doing anti-money laundering, terrorism financing, which means know your customer and other procedures, risk assessment, you would also need to, have 6 or 7 even pillars of compliance, which means that you need to have a different authorized capital, you need to have all the outsourcing procedures be regulated and confirmed by some kind of regulator. So this is really a problem, and I think in that sense, just most of the consumers will go somewhere where it's decentralized, because at the end of the day, you would need to put that cost on someone. So with the current regulation, we are very happy, and we are also trying to make proposals on how we can even provide more information and be more transparent. But when it comes to equalizing it to electronic money institution, I think it's too much, and it would be very difficult to operate. And again, you need to be unison in the whole world, which means that the United States should be also propose and confirm certain regulation, and all of the other countries, because European Union could put our company in a situation where we would not be able to have any competitive advantage against our American colleagues, let's say.
Yeah.
So it's a communication, and it's a slow dance thing. We need to be patient, we need to educate, we need to get the feedback, we need to explain what is missing, how we can solve that situation. We have right now the biggest concern is about the so-called travel rule, because it's, again, you need to have a standardized solution how you would solve something which came from the banking sector, so which from old rails, to build something on a cryptocurrency which is decentralized in its essence, right? So we're trying to mitigate all the potential problems and try to be proactive. We're not just sitting and waiting what people will provide us on terms of regulation. But sometimes it's difficult, but it's getting better.
But are these EU officials, are they meeting you halfway, or are you always trying to hitting a wall, hitting an age wall, an understanding wall? Because crypto is bloody hard. I'm still amazed how people invest their money based on Elon Musk's tweet or which dog looks the best, on the token. I mean, at some point, do these officials try to help you? Do they try to understand, or are they kind of, just boomerang away,
This is still partially a problem. We have people from institutions that are willing to listen, and they're willing to participate in our working group meetings and actually be proactive. And it's not only just a chit chat, but we have results in conversation. But the problem is the technology is so advanced that sometimes people, because of their lack of understanding of technology, trying to see it as a banking tool, right? As a banking solution. And they try to put some burdens on top that is very difficult to implement with existing technology. Or you need to build something on top, some kind of a layer, and then you have different market players that have different views on how this standard should be applied.
Exactly.
So I think that people are educating slowly, but gradually. But it takes some time, and again, I think that it's becoming better. Really, like 5 years ago, it was a roller coaster in terms of price and in terms of news, and to this day we still have like China, who is banning then allowing cryptocurrency payments. Still have a few countries like, I don't know, I think it was Chile when they banned, and Burma maybe they banned, Myanmar they banned cryptocurrency. I think even Iceland banned cryptocurrency at some point.
Turkey is having sour relationships.
Exactly, yeah. Well, Russia as well, right? They are also not sure.
Yeah.
But most of these countries, they have not only these problems, but also problems.
Some others.
Some other problems, let's say, as well. So I think in a free world, I think the assets should be diversified. Investment should be diversified. People should be able to choose what they are attracted to, where they see the values, where they share the same values. I think cryptocurrency is not a standard, and I never was a proponent of, that cryptocurrency is here to replace everything. The lending, the monetary, token, and everything. I'm not a proponent for that. I just think that there are people, there is e-commerce, there are cross-border payments, there is remittance business. There are companies that are basically just wiping out the whole Western Union in Africa, let's say. But they're changing the whole, concept with cryptocurrency underneath. So I think in that sense, cryptocurrency has much more to offer, and of course these things needs to be regulated so that Elon Musk's tweet shouldn't wipe out the whole, shouldn't make losses or shouldn't make gains for people, or just because he came with a bad mood or whatever, or with a good mood. But I think that things should be regulated in accordance to the technology, not in accordance to what is being built on the banking layer.
Basically, CoinGate's biggest challenge, is it educating people, or is it trying to be in this constantly changing world? What is your biggest challenge?
I would say that our fear right now is that some of the market players are consolidating everything, which is good at one point. You have Coinbase, you have Binance, you have other market monsters who are starting to do, custodial wallets, currency processing, NFTs, decentralized finance, and etc. So I think this is a natural process. That you want to have super app where all things crypto should be solved in that super app. Although historically these things never worked.
Exactly.
Because we have a story with Japanese exchange being hacked, which was a number one player. And everyone knows what happens with them, right? We have BTC China, which was the biggest market player back in 2015 and 16. Where are they now? And you have other players and sad stories and good stories. I think right now the industry is much more secure than it was 5 years ago. So for us, the risk, and partially I fear is that market is being consolidated by giants, which means that we need to foresee how we see our product being used and developed further, which means that we want to step into the custodial wallet business. I can't say business, but the functionality. We want to onboard the customers that are interested in acquiring crypto and selling, trading, and doing other things that are relevant for everyday user. And I think this is the way to go for us in terms of development. So, and this is also an opportunity for us not to lose the place under the sun. So in that sense, I think regulation is no longer a problem. I think European Union or United States had so many opportunities to ban crypto or forbid it from usage, and they didn't do that. So we think that the industry is mature enough, and that's why you have investor money pouring in, because they see this as opportunities to actually save your assets and diversify and maybe even make some good returns in that. When it comes to technology, we were always technology driven. So for us, there are 11,000 cryptocurrencies, 50 of the most prominent ones. We're happy to understand them. And if you have Bitcoin, it started from one concept, then you started to implement segregated witness, you started to implement Lightning Network. Now you have rootstock protocol someday that will also kick in as an additional layer. We are always interested in something innovative, and this will be always in our course. So yeah, I think the challenges there is not much challenges. You just need to be confident and to do business and not to be afraid, because with the businesses coming from Lithuania, only now we start to understand that we need to be confident, and we are able to achieve actually great results. We can do business in the United States, we can do business in UK. In our own region, we can be very, very successful. So I don't want to limit myself to only the region or European Union. I really want to go overseas. Latam is huge, United States is huge. Yeah. With Asia, it's a bit tricky because you need to be actually legally compliant there, and everything changes every day. So it's a little bit difficult, but I'm not saying that we are not looking in that direction. So I think everything is fine right now. You have 10, 11 years of business, of industry. Yeah. Everyone is welcome to do business.
Yeah, crypto is now a teenager. At last,
Yeah, the teenager that is actually already asking for some kind of, independence, who doesn't answer your calls when you call him. So I think in that sense, this is a good thing, to do. We're no longer in a situation where you have so many insecurities and uncertainties, and you need to educate people. That's no longer a thing. You have YouTube, you have you guys, you do lots of content, and I think with the proper content and with people understanding how to do trading, not to go by FOMO, by some tweets or etc. I think people will find the beauty and just maybe find out about the cryptocurrencies in trading. Yeah. But I hope, from my own personal story, seriously, this is becoming a meme, but I came for the technology. I just love how things can be done in such sophisticated manner, in a decentralized way. When you go into details, you understand how deep it is and how simple yet pragmatic it is to work with blockchain and Ethereum and Bitcoin. There are so many beauties about it.
Yeah, well, blockchain itself, it started from, like we have here, we'll have a wide shot from Satoshi's vision, what it could be. Of course, there are many unsung heroes of people who work tirelessly to create cryptography, to create this whole decentralization middle finger to the status quo, right? But really started like Dailycoin started, like I think essentially CoinGate started. It started from a feeling of we can do better.
Exactly.
Why be satisfied with the status quo? We are so glad you joined us today. And just as parting words, could you just tell our audience, what is your biggest, you think, achievement up until this point, because you'll have many more, and your biggest failure, just so that we can all relate on a human level?
I think that it is a bootstrapped company.
Yeah.
We have it is a second home for 50 people right now.
Yeah.
I think this is my personal biggest achievement. In my personal life, I was always finding it very hard to finish something. I'm very interested in starting something new, and I'm a product guy. So for me, starting something new, I always do 120%. But then, you know, you have the managing part, and then it starts to get boring, because you need to have a dopamine reward, so you need to start something new, and etc. So for me, we are growing exponentially, like every year. And for me, the fact that we have 50 people working with us, most of them are in a very young age, which is 24, 25 years, just finished college.
Wow.
I like to say that, you know, this is the sharpest pencil in the desk. You know, this is the guy who just finished the college, the university, so he's able to multitask, he's able to be in-depth in certain questions, and, you know, in that sense, I think that, and to have the attention of a 25-year-old for 3, 4, 5 years, it's a very difficult task, especially in Lithuania, because the whole landscape is changing very fast. So my personal and professional goal is, you know, I'm glad to have so many people working with us and building a common dream. It's not my own dream. I have many good, interesting, very smart people around me, smarter than me in most of the questions, although I think I know how to connect the dots. But when it comes to failure, I think that I already expressed my thoughts that sometimes for us, understanding that you have a product that is working and you need to be confident in communicating it, in selling it, right? Maybe this was the hardest part for me to understand, because I'm a product guy, and for me to be confident in product, I need to have all questions answered, which means that if you are, I don't want to call myself a perfectionist, but you, especially if it is an innovative technology, it's never enough. You can always go deeper, and try to, you know, get into the shopper shoes and customer shoes and try to overthink different scenarios. So for us, maybe the start was very slow. We didn't have sales team for first 4 years. Until 2017, 2018, when, you know, we had a huge hype around cryptocurrencies, and we started to gain some traction. So for us, a slow start maybe was the biggest failure. I do things differently, but again, you know, when you take into consideration that it was 2013 and we were in Lithuania, and Lithuania back then was a little bit different than it is right now. And we didn't have enough money to, you know, boost all the operations, hire the good seniors, hire the good compliance team, and etc., etc. This was my story, but maybe this was a failure when it comes to the company development. Let's say you need to be a little bit quicker, a little bit more business driven, a little bit more product driven, and maybe this is the thing that why we are now growing so fast in terms of not only, you know, people that work on CoinGate, but also in terms of turnover, in terms of customers, in terms of products. We are now much faster and much more flexible, let's say, in our decisions. But when it comes to failure, I think retrospectively, I think that was that phase took a little bit too long.
Yeah, but we can see now today that you can be. I can see from your eyes, you're proud of your team, your product, and it definitely should be. So for people who want to join a great company, where could they go to sign up to? Where's your career page? How can they find you?
So you can find me on LinkedIn. I'm not very active though, but you know, obviously I'm always open to you know, discuss opportunities, business opportunities, as well as employment opportunities on CoinGate. We are looking for operations in the United States. We're gonna build a small team there. We still have, I think, like 10 open positions here in Lithuania, which I I'm looking forward to speak with people who would be interested in those. But of course, visit our webpage, go to the social medias. We're active everywhere, and we have the whole team dedicated to answer your inquiries. If you have business and you want to integrate cryptocurrencies, or you already have a payment gateway but it sucks, which usually happens, contact to us, and I think that we would be able to offer you something better.
That was CoinGate. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you.
See you all in the next episode. Also, make sure to like, share, and subscribe. Bye.